What's going on? Welcome back. I did a couple of days off. Voice was acting up, and I had like half a speech. I would say something and cut out. So my body, I think, was just like, dude, you need to calm down. So I'm gonna divide this video sort of into two parts, and you guys can stay for part two and listen to my rant if you want to. That's how I like to do these videos, because we get to do a video about this, and a lot of guys really do like my how to change your life rants. So we're going to talk about that as well. So let's get through this first. I'm going to add my 2 cents, of course. And then at the end of the video, we will do, and you guys can totally take off after that if you want to. You guys can, I don't want to listen to Kyle talk. I'm already on my path and purpose. Bam, bam, bam. Okay. So let's do that.
Hey, and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to talk about when a girl was really into you, and then all of a sudden she's not into you anymore. She just loses interest. Maybe she's been hot and heavy for a couple of weeks, and then her interest suddenly disappears, gone. So I'm going to go through an email from a guy who's experiencing exactly the same problem, and I'm going to talk about it in more detail. So he kicks off. Hey Chris, I have a problem. A girl who was really into me. We're talking super intense, 10 messages a day, lots of fun and intimacy, constantly blowing up my phone, telling me how much she loves me, and we spent every weekend together in bed for the last 3 weeks. Well, she had a lot of attraction for you, that's for sure. If she's doing all that, it's an indicator that she is really attracted to you.
This is common. This happens a lot, because I do coach men after breakups to get into new relationships, right? And just show them try to help them get rid of their needy behavior and shitty behavior to attract better women, right? If they need it. So what happens, this happens a lot where, especially meeting people online. Meeting people online is a major thing today. So, judging by the title of this video, she disappears at some point. And that happens, it's usually a test, because women are meeting a lot of guys online now. And because they're doing that, they have so much access. They have so much abundance. You have to stand out as a man. And the way to do that is just to be the most, masculine man. The one that it's a lot of people see this as a game, right? But the way that relationships are going is going in that direction because of the amount of abundance women are getting. You just have to stand out now amongst the weak weirdos, the weak men out there that are jumping on dating apps. Okay, so the guys that are on dating apps, I'm not saying all of them, of course. There's very attractive guys on dating apps, duh. But there's a lot of, because of the amount of people that are jumping on dating apps, right? There's just going to be more of them doing it. And that's going to be more weirdos and more guys who don't understand women, don't understand how to talk to women, et cetera, et cetera. You guys understand this, okay? So in order to stand out from those guys, being purpose focused, not relationship focused, right? Being purpose focused, understanding what you're doing, understanding why you're here, or just being on the path to do that, okay? And a lot of people, forsake personal responsibility. Oh, it's in God's hands. You know what I mean? They'll be like, sorry guys, my eye was really itchy. They'll say, oh, it's in God's hands. I have to do no work. Bullshit. You have free will. It's up to you. You are the creator of your reality. It is up to you to create the reality that you want. It is 100% up to you. You have 16 hours. I'm going to assume everyone sleeps for 8 hours. Okay. You have 16 hours every single day to do something for yourself. Okay. And you guys can create whatever life you want. So I know I'm going to go into the rant later. So that is what you guys have to do to stand out from these guys. And because women will test you, they'll pull away, and guys are like, what do I do? What the fuck, man? She just randomly pulled away. She hasn't spoken to me all day, and we've been texting 20 times a day, which is too much, by the way. And this will be in my upcoming book. Okay. So that happens. It's common.
It was all good until she suddenly dropped off the face of the earth 2 days ago. I messaged her a couple of times and she didn't respond. Then she sent me a message telling me that she thinks that the relationship is moving too fast, and she thinks it's better if we don't see each other again. What happened? Everything was great until now. Well, what you're finding in this situation is you have this hot and heavy connection. He didn't really talk about how he met this girl. It could have been online, it could have been face to face, but you might find that when you meet somebody and you start dating, it can be very hot and passionate in the beginning. But there will come a point, at some point in time, where the girl pulls away. Now, that could be after 3 weeks, like in this case, or it could be in 6 weeks or 3 months. You're never going to know, but there has to be a time when she pulls away, because women have to pull away because they have to test you. And the reason why they have to test you is because nowadays women are meeting so many people. If we think about dating 10, 15, 20 years ago, it was very different. And the further you go back, the more different it was. Go back 20 years, there's no online dating. Or there's online dating, but it's on these terrible websites. Most
Online dating back in the day was actually like weird. Like anybody who was doing online dating was weird. It was kind of like frowned upon.
people weren't doing it. It was seen as something to be ashamed of,
Right.
quite frankly. And if you did it, you kept it on the down low. You didn't tell too many people about it. Now everybody's doing it. There's a lot of churn. There's a lot of people meeting lots of people. They're going on lots of dates. It's not uncommon for men and women to rack up 1,000 dates, a couple of hundred dates. It's not difficult to do that if you're constantly online and you're always online dating. But what you're going to find is the more people you meet, the more strange people you meet, the more unattractive people you will meet, the more needy, desperate, weak people you will also meet. And online dating, unfortunately, attracts a high proportion of desperate, needy people.
I was saying this earlier. Just because there's literally so much more people, so many more people that have access to online dating. It's just the way it works, right? Andrew Tate was saying this. He's like, look, if you displease, 10 people out of 100 from a video that you made, it's not really a big deal. But he's like, if you do that to 100,000 people and out of 10 million people that saw your video, huge, that does matter, right? And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because, because you have more of a scope of people that you're, accessing. Because of that, you're just going to come across more weirdos. I actually have coached guys that have zero idea how to even speak to women. No idea. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what to say. They get caught up on every little word because they're like, I don't know if I'm saying. They get so worried. And again, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later. But this is the issue. Okay? So, anyway, let's keep going.
With issues. And you will find that it's difficult, right? It's not easy to do online dating successfully. And as more time goes by, it gets increasingly more difficult. All this to say that women are going to come into contact with weak, needy men at some point in their life. Mm-hmm. Ever since a girl starts to bloom and blossom around the age of 15 or 16, she's going to start to get a lot of male attention. A lot of it's going to be unwanted. A lot of it's going to be done in a very tacky way, which is not smooth and which is not elegant. And women are going to find that offensive. They're not going to like it. And second of all, men are going to over pursue. They're going to come onto these girls really strong. They're going to come on hot and heavy. They're going to over pursue, over chase, send a million messages. And so women can sense this neediness.
So I want to add a little bit more to that because again, I help people coming from a breakup to going over to dating. A lot of guys are still doing that. They have this idea into their head, this burning image that they need to keep texting, need to keep contact, because if I don't, I'm gonna lose her. That's what they do. And I'm like, why do you think this, right? I'll literally sit them down and analyze it. I'll say, okay, sit down with your phone right now. Why do you think this? I don't know. And I'll be like, well, clearly it's something to, see something deep down inside of you. You think that she's gonna stop liking you because you're not messaging her right now. I call this the 4-hour rule, but it's not really 4 hours. It could be any amount of time. You need to let women wonder about you. And it's sometime, I just call it the 4-hour rule because I fucking made it up. But let's say it takes a particular woman 4 hours to even think of you. Okay? So it could be an hour, it could be 30 minutes, it could be 15 minutes. The level of that depends on how in love she is with you. If she's really, really into you, she really likes you, she's going to message you and she's going to think about you all the time. You're going to be the only thing that she thinks about. Okay? Then she'll reach out to you because that's what feminine energy is. She's trying to, bond with you, connect with you. Men's things are different. See, a lot of guys are being programmed to be more like women. So men will start doing what women do. Okay, let's connect, right? But if you do that as much or even just a little too much for that person, that's going to drive her away because it's just too much feminine energy. Whereas men are about, is why I'm doing this, because this is what the penis is, erect, right? So our job is to go and, go out into the world and basically fuck the world. Do things. Create things. If you are religious, I don't even like that word because I'm not religious really. But I do believe in creation, God, okay? So I think that's what we are because we are given the exact same ability, just at a different level, to create. I have created a gigantic, not gigantic, but big business, okay? And that business provides me everything I need to create other things. And again, we'll talk about this in a minute, but guys, they have too much of this feminine energy into them right now, built into them, where they think that they need to be fucking texting girls all the time. They're I need to text her. I need to text her. Sometimes it's to fulfill that need inside, right? And sometimes it's because they're like, oh, they're just literally, there are issues inside of them. They're not doing the masculine stuff enough. They're not erect. Okay. So that may make some of you guys laugh.
Desperation from men. And when they meet a guy they really like, yeah, they're going to come on pretty strong and hot and heavy in the beginning because there is that baseline attraction, that physical attraction, that connection. But there has to come a point when she's going to test you because she needs to know that you are emotionally strong and stable. And that's why they pull away, because they want to see how you're going to react in this situation. I highly recommend you pick up a copy of my book, Atomic Attraction. It will show you exactly how to do all this. You can pick up your copy today by clicking on the link below. And don't forget, I do Skype, phone, and email consultations. You can book a consultation with me on my website.
So, okay, this is going to be the rant or talk section, okay? So I'm just going to take this off. So, okay, so many of the guys I'm dealing with have these two emotions in common, which is fear, okay? Let me make myself a little bit smaller. There we go. So, fear. Fear is a big one because you guys are fearful that you're going to be undesirable. People aren't going to like you. People don't want to be with you. People are never going to want to be with you or love you again, right? So you desire a relationship, which is what happens to a lot of these guys. A lot of guys that I help through new relationships, again, during the relationship, during the dating process, we focus heavily on this, and we focus heavily on the fear, because a lot of guys will again be like, oh, she hasn't reached out to me. She hasn't talked to me. I don't know what's going on. Oh my God. Right. So they get so like worried that something bad is going to happen. And I'm like, why do you think something bad is going to happen? Right. Like, and we go through it. Right. I don't say it like that. I say, okay, let's go through this. Why do you think this is happening? Okay.
Talk soon.
Okay. So I want to make sure that is good. Okay. Sorry about that. So when we do this, I'll be like, okay, so many of you guys are coming from the idea of I need this to get this. So I teach people how to make money online, right? So there are things that are going to help you in that regard when it comes to desire, right? Anger, pride, whatever. And that can still get you results, but in a relationship is different. So let's just talk about the business side for a sec so you guys can understand. So the business side, you can go, okay, I am fearful that I'm going to lose my house. I'm fearful that I'm going to lose my kids, or I can't feed my kids, or I can't feed myself, right? I'm fearful that this, and you can come up with a laundry list. So that can drive you into producing so much. For me, it was content. For some people, it's, setting up an e-commerce store, whatever it is, right? So they can make it work. And then what ends up happening is, because you bought yourself freedom, let's say, just for the argument's sake, that your life only costs you $2,500 a month. Okay. And say you're making $8,000 to $9,000 a month. Okay. Well, now you don't need to have this fear anymore. And what happens is, a lot of people emotionally will get tired of doing their business, because they're like, okay, I actually got into this because I was just desperate, right? You're not inspired. You were desperate. So that happened to me for a minute, and I needed to change the reasoning why I'm doing my business. And really what it was is just understanding that, because I was still dealing with certain things. So I was still in an weird emotional place. But basically I was, I had to sit down and think for a minute and go, okay, it's more of create my goals, but don't have attachments to them. Whereas when you have fears, you're like, I want to make 10 grand a month. I want to make 10 grand a month. I want to make 10 grand a month. And then you're like, okay, because that can pay for my life 4 times over. And then if you're making $2,500 a month, right? So I was thinking that exact way. And then when I didn't need to do that anymore, I was like, oh, okay, I need to change how I'm thinking here. Okay. So I have freedom now. Now all I need to do is understand, okay, what am I doing now? So basically I had started getting into this courage and neutrality state of being. Okay. So I have goals, but I'm okay. If they happen, they don't. If they happen, they do. If they don't, they don't. And they'll happen eventually if I keep sticking to it, like I did, but without this fear. And things actually grow faster when you're not coming from this state. So what happens to a lot of people is, let's say they choose the wrong woman, for example, right? Which has happened. Which you guys do that a lot, because again, you desire a relationship, you desire connection. So instead of vetting a woman that you actually really, really like, that suits you, she will leave you. She will treat you like shit, and you're wondering why, and you're trying to change her. You're trying to white knight for her. You're trying to be Captain Save-A-Ho. So then you're like, okay, I'm angry at myself for doing this, and you get mad. So many of my students tell me, I'm so mad at myself for doing this. I'm like, okay, relax, let it go, right? So then they feel great shame, because they're like, I should have known better. They might feel apathetic about it. A lot of guys feel apathetic about dating in general, okay? And then they come back up to the same, they're reliving the same like 6 emotions over and over. Sometimes they'll feel guilt, sometimes they'll feel grief, sometimes they'll feel shame, but you guys are dealing with the same like 6 emotions. And sometimes you're up here. Maybe you're like 90% down here, 10% up here. So when you flip that, and your individual life is more up here than it is down here, you're going to attract a better relationship into your life anyways. You're going to choose a better woman, because if anybody is down here that you are dating, they're going to take away from this for you. This is why high abundance people don't typically date low vibration people for very long. Okay. Unless they have other issues going on, but that's generally why it doesn't happen. Usually low vibration people date low vibration people. Let's say, for example, you are 40% in this, and you're pretty cool about life 40% of the time, then you're down here 60% of the time. Then the person you're dating is up here 20% of the time, down here 80% of the time. Okay. This is where guys will get really confused, because they're like, okay, I liked her when she was up in this area, but she sucks when she's down here. So I say, you're choosing the wrong woman. They think that woman is going to be the person that they're going to change. No, they need to change again, you are the creator of your reality. Who you choose to let into your reality is up to you. That is your job. A lot of people want to place this into the hands of God, so to speak. Oh, I'll let God sort it out. If you are the creator of everything that happens to your life. You choose to let people talk to you a certain way. You choose what to eat. You choose what to consume on a daily basis, video-wise, book-wise, whatever. It's all up to you. Okay? When everyone says, let's put it in God's hands, right? What that sounds like is, because there is a level to that I do believe in. Let's just put that out there. Because there's going to be some Yahoo in the fucking comments. It's like, what about D? Right? But you're taking away personal responsibility. A lot of people are like, this didn't work for me, so I'm just going to leave it in God's hands. Instead of being like, man, maybe I fucking suck at this. Maybe I suck at that. Maybe I'm just not attractive anymore. Maybe it's this. And then you can work on all of these things. And this is exactly what I do in my program. I tell guys, okay, let's start from square one. What do you even understand about women? And a lot of them are like, I've never learned this. I didn't know that I was being too nice. I didn't know about boundaries. I didn't know about compromise. I didn't know about trust. A lot of you guys can't even trust each other. You guys fucking make sure that the other person has your location all the time. That's not a relationship. That's slavery. Okay? The person if you feel like you need to give that person your location, that is emotional slavery. That is control, right? Because that person can't deal with the fact that they don't know where you are, so they need to look it up to make themselves feel better. And I'm always going to point to your solar plexus, to this area, because this is where you feel that gut-wrenching shit when you go through stuff is in your solar plexus. Your solar plexus is in your gut down here, right? Your root chakra, and then you move up. Right? I don't talk about that kind of stuff here because a lot of people are, but if we were to talk about it, that's where you feel it, right? So that's why a lot of people are like, I lost 30 pounds. I'm like, yeah, probably because you went through a heartbreak, right? So again, people are reliving the same emotions with a little bit of this. Whereas when you flip it, you're going to be living more of this. So for me in business, let's go back to that for a sec, right? I had to become neutral. And then I had to accept where I was. I accepted that by the time I was 27 that I did nothing. That there's 16 and 17-year-olds that are millionaires and I did nothing. And that happens every day, right? So going up to reason, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. This was about, for me, I feel a lot happier now because I am up here more often. I'm not up here all the time. I don't think I'm truly enlightened at all. Okay, maybe there's some parts of me that are, but I have a more of this going on in my life, okay, than down here. And I like to help bring people up that way by telling you or showing you how I did it and what I've done to get to that kind of life. So first off, I bought freedom, and I'm talking to the men here, okay? Women are a little different. So guys, buying my freedom brought me up to this a whole lot faster. Some of you guys love your jobs. Great. But for me, I was the worst employee ever, right? I would have great weeks and horrible weeks. And it was just because I was not living my purpose. I was not living what I needed to do, which a big part of it was freedom. I need to be free. I need to be free to choose to work hard or to not work hard that week. For example, I lost my voice for a little while. Okay. And this is the hardest I've pushed it since I lost my voice. Right. But that kind of stuff like never happens to me. So, I live a lifestyle now where it's okay, where I can pull back for a few days and not upload a video or not do anything for me. Because masculine energy is more of a side hustle thing for me. Okay. Creating the media company is my main goal, my main driver. So that created a purpose in my life, a purpose. A lot of people discover their purpose when they have children. They have kids and they're like, oh, fuck, like providing for them and protecting them is my biggest purpose. So I want to be strong. I want to provide. I want money. I want to be the best version of me. And that's great, right? So a lot of you guys that listen to me, some of you guys are young and you're like, I don't have any purpose, right? So I'm not telling you go out there and fucking have kids, but I'm saying that there needs to be a reason why. And sometimes kids are very compelling reason why. Okay. So flipping this, how do you go from fear and grief and living in this perpetual bullshit to up here? Figure out what it is in your life that is causing you as an individual to feel these things here. Okay, that's a difficult thing to do. It's not hard. Sorry, it's very hard. Now, for me, it was freedom. Okay, some of you guys may think it's a relationship, but it's disguised as individual problems. Okay, you need to figure out what it is. So for me, it was freedom, and then working hard is not hard for me. I can work hard. I can work 14, 15-hour days. And go to bed and sleep like a baby and not feel weird about it. But if I work even an hour for somebody else that I don't love or I don't see the purpose of it, it irks me inside. Okay, so for me, I was angry that I had to work for other people. I desired freedom. right? Again, these emotions aren't always detrimental. They can help drive you because you're like, I don't want this. So it will help drive you upwards, sort of. But staying here is a problem, okay? So when it comes to women, so in a nutshell, without making this video a whole fucking hour long, the idea is getting into a place of neutrality. So going from taking the next step. Take one step up. So that means you have to start acting in a way that will bring you these emotions. So actions are the only things that change things. A lot of people want to be like, oh my God, law of attraction, I get to just think my way into a new life. No, you have to think and then therefore believe and then take action on those things. And sometimes you have to think, take action, and then believe. For example, a lot of people don't think they can actually make money online because they're like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. It's just so they think it's harder. It is hard. It's not easy. It's not easy. It is simple, but it's not easy. Okay. So you have to once you finally believe it, that's when here it will change. Okay. And you'll start acting a better way. So you have to get up here. So for example, let me put this into another example. If somebody's really overweight, they're going to go, okay, you know what? It feels like such a big obstacle. And then they're going to have the same perpetual emotions coming back over and over. Angry that they couldn't control their eating habits. Fearful they're never going to get their goals. They desire a great body. They become apathetic about life sometimes because they're like, oh my God, I'm never going to get this goal. Shame that they couldn't, live up to what they feel in their head that they should be, etc. Guilty that they ate that fucking chocolate bar, right? It just turns into they're down here all the time. So what do they need to do? Take a step in the next direction. So what I say is slowly but every day, move towards where you want to be. So what is it? Is it becoming free? Is it making enough money for you to live a more free life? Is it losing weight? Is it only a relationship? Because some of you guys have all the other things together. Great. What is it about a relationship? So let's get one level deeper. Do you understand women? Do you understand attraction? Do you understand how to pull back? Do you understand what women are looking for? Are you choosing the wrong women because you don't understand them? And then you can go even deeper and saying, okay, is it my interactions with women, et cetera, right? So what is it? And that is the question, okay? So me and what I do with my coaching is we just pick one thing and we go into that direction, okay? So it can literally be, hey, Kyle, I just want to make $1,000 online because I do teach this stuff. So I use that example a lot, right? Okay, great. Let's find something that you can do for the next 2 years every single day to get you that goal of $1,000 passively a month online. Okay. I say 2 years as a very conservative time. It can be shorter. It can be longer. It depends on you and how much work you put into, but, that is, you can double that goal and shorten the actual time frame. It depends on how much work you put into it. And if you're doing things correctly, of course, right? So then we work towards that goal. When you take steps towards these goals, then you're like, okay, now this is a habit. Bam, cool, done. Let's move on to the next thing while I have this habit. Okay. So that could be understanding women. Okay. So let's consume as much knowledge about this as possible from men and go forward. Okay. That's what we do. So that's what you do. It's very simple. It's not hard. This is not rocket science. The only reason it seems that way is because people are in this all the time. They are fearful, and fear is a very fucking strong emotion. It will stop you from doing a lot of things. Okay. So we need to take, again, one step forward, and facing fears and pushing forward will get you to where you want to be. Okay. I can feel my voice getting weaker. So I'm going to message. So anyway, it's not what I meant to say. I'll see you guys in the next video. Click on whatever pops up on your screen. If you want to work with me, let me know. It's in the description box down below. Okay? Get moving. Get started. Use this. Screenshot it. Whatever. I'll move my face a little smaller so you guys can screenshot this. And bam. Okay? Done.